Welcome, everyone. Lovely to be with you. Hello, Chris, Rochelle, Holger, Mark, Frank, Holly, Jeff, Malcolm, John, Fernando, Mina, and Marga. Welcome. No need to do anything. Everything is done moment by moment, perfect as it is. Simply enjoying being the sensations within your body, whatever thoughts are appealing to you. There is no separation anywhere. Nothing lacking, nothing that you need to seek. In some imaginary future. All the universal creative forces are at work on their own. You are not separate from creation. You are not an object of creation, but the creation itself. When you take a look at your experience in this moment, it's one vast being, presence. Thinking, the process of thinking is movement. Is similar to the weather, the movement of the wind, the movement of breath. The movement of the clouds. Similarly, thinking is the universe moving as the process of thinking. There's nothing that you need to do. Because there is no separate you. There's no separate entity apart from the totality. There are various images, various perceptions, various thoughts. But awareness, consciousness is one. And you are this aware presence. Whenever you try to fix thinking, first you separate yourself as somebody who knows better, somebody who has a good reason to have the world appear as they wish it to appear. But separating yourself is imaginary, because there is no separate self, and there is no possibility to separate anything from anything. And no need to separate anything. One thing seems to be different is the illusion of the separation, imagining that there is a personal entity that deserves a better deal. So then you live as this imaginary character, moment by moment, maintaining some belief in some sort of separate self, which is nowhere to be found. As a thought appears to you, it is at that very moment reality taking on the form of a thought or a sound, a color, a shape. Like water takes on the form of a wave or a stream or raindrops. while remaining water. Similarly, consciousness and its appearances are not two. And while for a certain period of time you believed yourself to be a person born, existing in time and space, you come to the understanding that there is no person, that you are this aware presence, this alive, awake, aware knowingness, being. Not a personal being, not a particular being, but beingness itself. So thinking and sensations, they're how the universe appears at times. There is no need for you to do anything, to fix anything, to improve anything. Simply recognize yourself as this restful, effortless beingness. Not somebody who's trying to be restful, but restfulness itself. You don't exist in time. Time appears to you. You don't need to identify yourself in any way. What for? Consciousness is formless, shapeless, genderless. Why identify consciousness? A particular body, mind, form. What for? Remain as you are. Unknown. So if you have any questions, anything that you'd like to explore, please make sure you mute your mic. Or can turn on the video. So any questions? Hello, good.
Hello, Magdi. Thank you for this meditation and for this reminder. Sometimes my poor me still pops up, and it's good to be reminded and to, the thoughts are like the weather, but I still feel so attached to them, so invested. So even if I know that it's not the reality, but it's just still going on. But I just need to be maybe a little bit more patient.
I mean, if thought appears to you, and by the time it appears to you, it's really disappeared. So the task of attaching yourself to something that's appeared and disappeared is a taunting task.
Yes, it's weird. Yes, I know.
Question is, what do I refer to by I?
Mm.
That's an important question to clarify. When we say I, and when I arises, what does it refer to? What does I refer to? Obviously, it's a reality that perceives. Does I refer to the reality that perceives, or to something that's appearing to you? When you say I, are you referencing your body? Are you referencing the person, a set of images, a feeling, an emotion, sensation? And then what is it that's referring to? A memory, feeling, a sensation, or a story? What is it that's referring to that which is perceived as I? And what is the relationship between that which is perceived, the thought, the feeling, the emotion, and the reality which perceives? What is it that you can sort of really be certain about? Your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts. How certain can you be about them? At best, you can be as certain about your thoughts and your feelings as you are about the reality which perceives them, at best. So the reality which perceives, which is not perceived phenomenally, not the thought, not the feeling, that the reality which perceives, that is what you can be certain about. That there is something rather than nothing that perceives this moment, every moment. And that something isn't changing. It's not altered by the thoughts that appear, or the memories that appear, or the bodily sensations that appear. It's not altered by the weather, internal or external weather that appears. So then your certainty about your self-knowledge, about knowing yourself, it gets more and more established that, yes, I am this numeral, this non-phenomenal reality. Can't describe it as being this or that, tall, short, blah, blah, here or there. But I'm absolutely certain about consciousness. That's it's more and more that which is certain, rather than all the various phenomenal conditions that can impact the body-mind. The politics of the world, the financial situation of the world, the family situations, the health of the body. It's so many phenomenal conditions that can affect thoughts, perceptions, and sensations, and feelings and emotions. Constantly shifting, changing. We don't know what tomorrow will be in terms of the world situation. But we can be certain about consciousness. That I refers to that, and that there is no evidence that this I is limited or a product of thought or a product of the world. See, you never leave yourself, you never leave this knowingness, because you are this consciousness, which is and knows it is. And you can never leave itself, in fact, to be something else. And it's always available to you. I awareness, I consciousness. Not so much the whole body mind, the whole body mind is a shifting target, it's constantly changing from 12 years old to 15, 20, 30, and so on. There are
Yes. Being here, absolutely, yes. It's ridiculous, this poor me, but then still it happens. I mean, it's amazing, like an addict or like. But
there
that's
is
just
an
the way it
interest.
is.
It's an interest to somehow refer to I as whatever you said, the poor me, whatever. There is an interest, some interest in that. Whenever the interest is in that, then then I am just for me or whatever. So there is an interest. And so because there is the interest, then who is to argue? It's your freedom. I mean, if it's your interest, then it's really your interest. I mean, why argue with your interest? If you're interested in becoming a pilot or learning how to play the violin, or who's to argue with your interest? It's your freedom.
Yeah, but it seems to be it's an interest from the past. I mean, I'm unaware of it. I mean, there's something hidden I don't see. I mean, it doesn't bring happiness. I mean, it's mad. I mean,
well, we may not always be interested in happiness. We may be interested in story about me and him and her, blah, blah, which is not happiness. Yes, I agree. But the fact that we know happiness doesn't mean that we're necessarily interested in happiness 24/7. But it's not so hidden, because whenever you're assuming yourself to be the poor me, that's on board. It's on board. But your interest is in playing it out. It's not so much in looking at it. So when you say it's hidden, it's not really hidden. You know, you started the car is running, you know, but you're not interested in listening to the car running. You're interested in driving to the market or driving to the fair. So, well, there's a car running here, it's hidden. Not really. We're interested in going to the fair. So you're interested in the story, the meaning, solving the meaning, improving the meaning, improving my life, improving, the psychological stuff, you see. Because when we made the choice, you know, to be this separate entity, then we're playing it out. We're going to play it out. We're going to try it out, see how it works. But over time, you realize, okay, well, I've tried it out and again, and I know more or less how it works. It may feel good for a little while, and then boom, you know, it's things are going to fall apart. It's bound to happen over and over and over. You know, you have so many iterations. You know now, okay, well, statistically, chance of success with happiness is 0.1%. You say.
yeah.
Then our interest in playing it out was a shift in that. And in a way, we contribute, we go along with, okay, I've already experimented with being a separate, dependent, limited personal consciousness. Now I'm interested in experimenting with just being not a defined, undefined consciousness. Not a personal consciousness, it's just undefined consciousness. Not limited by person, not like, so then you explore it, then you're more interested in exploring that. You can't just explore it conceptually, you have to also live it, explore it in your life. And so then you're not engaging in regret. I should have. No, you're all of that. All of these references to me. I should have known better. Uh, that's not the direction of living, experimenting with just being. Experimenting with being is being not knowing. So it's a moment, a fresh moment by moment of life, but not going towards a certain direction that I think is the right direction. It's not directed by some personal thought. It's creative potentials unfolding in a way that's sort of spontaneous, fresh. And there is the aliveness of consciousness. That's the only aliveness that there is. It's not the aliveness of the bird that's flying by or the aliveness of the wind. Aliveness of consciousness, of awareness. And that you can't describe it, phenomenally. But the experience of that is a sense of awe, freedom, given from time, space, and conditions. It's not directing itself in a certain direction. It's not seeking the goal. So this isn't the sense of lack or incompleteness. But we don't need to imagine that. It's how life is moment by moment. It's not some image about, oh, well, that's how it is. It's the simplicity, the freshness and the flow of life. Where we're so not knowing, we're right there discovering and being discovered in this moment, how this moment is appearing. And it doesn't matter that much how it appears.
Yes, I hear you, and I feel, the words, yes, they resonate. I feel the openness. I feel the clarity. Yes, yes. This very moment.
So this resonance it reflects the understanding. So we don't need to do anything. The understanding, it does what it needs to do. So in a way, there is nothing we need to do. Because there is no one to do anything, and it's all being done. And it's all done.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Magdi.
Hey, Magdi.
Hey, Frank.
Hey. I was going to ask you a question today because I feel like I've been asking the question every time we've been meeting lately, but since nobody's speaking up, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about acceptance and I'm going to try to get this question out somewhat in a way that it can make sense. So the other day I was trying to help somebody accept something, a condition in their life, and the person said to me, "Well, yeah, okay, I want to accept it, but how do I do it?" I honestly couldn't tell them how. I don't know how you go about accepting something. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Trying to help somebody accept something or beating yourself before you get into maybe non-duality or something.
Yes. Well, ultimately, Frank, there is no one to accept or reject anything. There isn't like somebody sitting out there looking at all the cards and saying, okay, I accept this one and that one and that one, and I reject this one and that one. It's not like that. Life is unfolding. It's unfolding in this moment. And by the very fact that it's unfolding means it's accepted. Otherwise it won't unfold. So there isn't, in fact, any reality to accepting or not accepting. It's an assumption that there is somebody that can accept or reject. Now that's in the absolute sense, in the real sense. So I rarely talk about accepting or because of that very fact that there isn't an acceptor or a rejector. Now, from the relative perspective, somebody who is struggling with situations in life, depends. You have to meet whoever you are with at the level where they're at. What are they capable of understanding? So whenever we are resisting something, the activity that we're engaging internally in thoughts and feelings are the activities of resistance. We are building walls, we're building ramparts where it's a fortress where we have to protect ourselves or protect something. And that very activity of resisting is exhausting. So why engage in something that's exhausting? because it's going to promise you some goodies in down the line. You'll have more goodies down the line if you get exhausted now. So you go to work, you work 50, 60 hours, you kill yourself because you're going to get a certain wage, which you're going to use to pay your doctor, your medical bills, because you've been living a life of misery. And usually we resist because we feel there is something important that we're trying to protect. We're not stupid, we really feel that we need to resist so we can protect something valuable. And that makes sense. It makes sense to be resisting in order to protect what you feel is valuable. Then you have to take a look at what is it that you assume is valuable. I don't know. You have to take a look at that. Maybe you're making some assumptions that about what is valuable that you can revisit. In life, everything that's unfolding in life is impermanent. Your money, your health, family, your house, everything is passing dream. But we believe they're very valuable. And to a certain extent, they are. It's important to have a house to shelter yourself from the weather. It's important to have a job so you can feed yourself and your family, But that only goes so far. So you have to understand that in the long run, that's not really what is valuable. But that which is truly valuable is consciousness, is awareness, is understanding, the understanding about consciousness, the understanding about reality. Now, it depends, when you're talking with somebody, you have to meet them where they're at. I don't know the person you're talking with. If you're talking to them about acceptance or non-attachment, they may not be ready to understand that. They may feel that you're preaching at them. I don't know. But you can share your experience. That's always helpful when you share your experience, how things are for you, when you're arguing, when you're resisting, when you're seeking, what it's like for you. What is your experience with that? What is your understanding with that? But it's also the understanding about peace, that peace it's now. Peace is now. I mean, the peace that really matters is now, not the peace of tomorrow. The happiness of now, the freedom of now. That's interesting because then you can look at what is peace now, what is freedom now, what is happiness now. It's obviously not some form of resistance. It's not some form of argument. But sometimes it's difficult for people to relax with the now because their mind is stirring about tomorrow. What's going to happen to me tomorrow? Why did this happen to me yesterday? So it depends, if the person is capable of somehow relaxing and to relax with you and to be able to get a sense of what you are talking about, get a feeling of what you're talking about. But yeah, the best is to share your experience without trying to convince, without trying to sell any goods. People can listen to your experience, what you're sharing, they may be interested or not. Who knows?
Okay, thanks, Magdi. Thanks. Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes for me. I've run into this quite a few times where I've had people talk about their problems, and I see a lot of times it's, you know, they're not accepting what's going on. They're fighting it, and I say to them, and I tell them,
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Magdi?
Yeah, I hear you.
And
I hear you.
Yeah, like you're saying, then I try to convince them, but then I go, no, I can't convince anybody. And I just say, what I say to them, like, you know, if you can't accept it, try to accept it. You can't accept it. And so, and then I just stop because then I start going around in circles. But yeah,
right.
No, I appreciate what you're saying. I really do.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You know, sometimes we learn by moving in the wrong direction and bumping our head against the wall. Sometimes that's how we learn, you know, we resist, we argue, and things get worse and worse. And at some point we relax, say, okay, well, okay, I can't argue with it, I can't change it. How about just let me see what it's like to simply to explore a different way, different venue.
Yeah, I surrender. I guess after a while, you just try everything you can, and if that nothing works, surrender. But I guess it takes its own time.
Yeah. Well, what matters in our sharing is to understand that there is no one to surrender.
Yeah.
That life isn't occurring in time. It's this moment. It is in this moment that life is unfolding. And this moment already is what it is. It's already this perception, this conversation, this sensation. It's already what it is. There is no separate somebody to surrender or to resist. That's a deep understanding about surrender. It's about that there isn't a separate entity. Of course, I'm not talking about sharing that with your friends. I'm just speaking about surrender at a level where we can have a deeper understanding about surrender. So that when you're not imagining yourself to be somebody in the absence of any imagination or believing that you are some separate entity, and there is no surrender, there's just life unfolding. There isn't somebody who is a victim, because there's nobody, no separate victim, no separate self. So there's no issue for somebody, because there's nobody to whom there is an issue. Just life unfolding, and this life is consciousness. And this consciousness is I is this consciousness. Consciousness is our most direct experience, our reality. Awareness.
So Magdi, when you have that understanding, as you do, and I'm trying to get there, and I think sometimes I have spurts of it, but I'm dealing with somebody who has absolutely no understanding of that that they're separating themselves, that there's a sense of separation where they are. What is the best? Can you just? I think I'm sometimes still seeing somebody else as being separate, I guess, because they see themselves that way. So I guess I just have to leave it. You know, they are where they are, and I just know that, like you said, you have to meet them at their level.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yeah. So you can, you know, sometimes people need somebody to talk to. not necessarily for any other reason, but just to sort of, share. You could sometimes be just a friend that can listen, but he's not listening, believing that there is a problem. They say it's a difference. Just listening, there's a compassionate way of listening. Not like thinking, oh, gee, they haven't gotten it yet. No. Because it's all the play of consciousness. It's all God's creation. And God is knocking on your door, say, hey, listen, I'm having a problem with this and that and that and that and that. And I hold on to my problem. Then you just say, okay, well, listen, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's very difficult. Some things are very difficult to accept. And we'd like things to be different, to be better, and it's a form of resistance. And we all do that to a certain extent until we come to a different understanding, understanding that all of it is God's creation. But there is a quality of listening that already is accepting. So when you are listening from an accepting place, an open place, that's something that expresses itself, is something that transfers itself. There are no problems. Everything that's unfolding is God's will. Including your personal, so-called personal issues.
Well, that was very helpful, Magdi, what you said about listening with the acceptance. Listening with acceptance, and that transference that takes place. I really needed to hear that. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay, then if there are no more questions, thank you all. Lovely to be with you always. Chris, Fernando, Jeff.
Thank you, Magdi.
Mark, thank you. Holly. Marga, John, your change, my con. Lovely to be with you.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you. Thank you.